This was my favorite episode so far. Hello everybody, my name is MeisterBloo, and today I took a look at the 7th episode of Monster Musume, simply titled Everyday Life with Mon and an Arakane. A really cool twist on this episode is that it actually opens with the formerly end credit sequence. Like the music and the visuals and everything for the end credits so far is now the opening, and it makes perfect sense because I had mentioned when I first watched it and I hadn't read any of the manga or whatnot that like I didn't really know what those other monster girls in the credits were. And it makes perfect sense because they are the feature of the very first part of this episode. This episode opens up with a comic shop, an otaku shop, like doujin selling area, being taken over by a group of orcs. And these are, for lack of a better way of trying to describe it, hentai orcs. They are giant pigmen. And they want, their demands for taking this place over with hostile forces, they have guns, so it's a hostile takeover and they have hostages and everything. Their demands are unorthodox. They require more orc cross other types of human girls, hentai, doujin, all sorts of stuff. That's literally their demands. They are holding people at gunpoint for this. The unfortunate thing is that because the law is still new and it hasn't been kinked out and everything, the police cannot do anything against these people, because if the police go in and get shot, the orcs can claim that it is self-defense. The police came at us, so we defended ourselves. But the police can't hurt these orcs at all because they're humans, human police. So while the police is like frantically trying to figure out what they can do, Sumisu-san is on the case to criticize their coffee and send in her own special task force. The coolest part, and this was jarring to me in the manga as well, is that when we, like, the first of her special task force we see is this girl, and the first time we see her, she gets shot multiple times because these orcs have Uzis on them, and one of them, like, smells that there's a girl in the ceiling above him, and so he turns the gun up and shoots, and she drops down in a bloody heap on the floor. He puts the gun to her chest and calls the police and says, "I found your little inside person," and shoots her more. So now she's just in an even more bloody heap on the floor. And when I saw that in the manga too, I was like, this isn't a bloody series. This is super graphic for this. After some attempts to negotiate, we find the orcs forgot about one girl in the back, so they bring her forward. She panics when she sees the bloody corpse on the floor, rushes to the blinds and like starts banging on the windows and whatnot, knocking the blinds down and everything. And then we see that a sniper is positioned, I think, 2 kilometers away? Some really far distance away. And the sniper shoots all the guns out of these orcs' hands. Once that's taken care of, 2 of the orcs that are in the back of the place watching some of the hostages hear a little bit of a rumbling, and they see a wall crash open and a massive armored figure come in and pummel them to the floor. They're out. They're out of the game. This armored figure removes the mask and reveals that it is in fact an ogre female who is awesome and super powerful and reminds me just of the girl Spartan from the Halo movies that came out, the Halo Legends things. Can't remember her name, but she was awesome, and this girl is pretty much just an ogre version of that. She's like an ogre Brienne of Tarth, if you will. The girl that was panicking and banging on the windows turns out to be a doppelganger who can transform into any form, and the girl in the heap on the floor gets back up and starts threatening and beating up the other orcs because she is a zombie. She is straight up a zombie, and the way she reveals that is she like unzips her shirt, and you see this just like stitches everywhere. And she pulls one of the coolest maneuvers that only a zombie could do in a situation like this. When an orc comes up from behind her and grabs her, she takes the Uzis, flips them around, puts them to her stomach, and shoots the guy through her. Coolest person ever. And this whole opening is just to set up these new characters. These are like the special task force of the monster community, and it's so cool, so cool. They all work directly with Sumisu-san so that whenever a situation comes in where the humans can't do anything to them, they bring these ones in because it's not illegal for the monsters to beat themselves up. And if that weren't enough, we then move on to the follow-up of last episode, where we find that the guy who claimed to be a movie director and whatnot is now in a webbed heap hanging from the ceiling. He had called the police but wasn't able to talk to them. the special task force kicks down the doors and whatnot, tripping a bunch of wires and webs, and we see her, Rhaenyra. She is on the roof, big ol' spider, and it was alright. Since I read the mangas, I read some of the mangas ahead of time. I'm still not, like, finished with the manga. I need to get the next few ones, but when I saw her, I'm like, oh my god, this could be a really cool, like, animated character. It's a spider. Spiders move, like, jagged and fluid at the same time. They move so weird and everything, and I wish that the animation on her in the show would have been done a bit better, because it's an opportunity right there. That was a beautiful opportunity, and it was kind of choppy, to say the least. But the sniper girl, who we find out is a Cyclops, I forgot to mention that, takes a shot at the spider, and she misses. The spider takes off running, and we find out that spider knows the address to Kimihito. In the next scene, we are at his house. Sumisu-san's like, yeah, we found out that this person might know where you live, so we're just here to make sure everything's okay. Where's Kimihito? And everyone's like, oh, he went to the grocery store because they're having a huge sale, because what grocery store in anime isn't having a huge sale when there's a character that's addicted to cooking and shopping and whatnot? And while this conversation's going on, we just have Sue and Poppy, being the adorable, lovable duo that they are, coming in and out, just like putting stuff on the table, putting a bunch of food and whatnot on the table, and they're like, what are you guys doing? And Poppy, bless her, she's like, oh, there's all this food out front, so we just decided to bring it in. They look out, and yep, there's the grocery bags and a shoe missing and everything. I don't know why she didn't notice the shoe, but it's Poppy. Kimihito has been kidnapped by Rhaenyra, and honestly, this is one of my favorite parts in the entire manga and anime so far, is the kidnap scene, because we get to see, like, this is something that I had been thinking about since first coming across the premise of this. I'm like, well, yeah, if they're a bunch of monster girls, obviously there's not going to be a lot of people that like them. This is the case where a monster girl isn't liked just because the way she looks, just because she doesn't look like one of the cute monster girls, like Poppy or whatnot. She doesn't look like one of the adorable ones, and because of that, she has had a very tragic life so far in this exchange program. During this moment where they're in a warehouse and Rhaenyra has Kimihito all tied up and everything, Kimihito's not scared of her. He's not acting surprised like her and whatnot. He's just like, oh, hi, how's it going? Why aren't you with your host family? You know you can get in a lot of trouble for this. And it takes her, it like throws her off, because she's assuming this guy's gonna be terrified and screaming, and it's like, oh, a giant spider, I'm gonna beat him and whatnot, and it's gonna be terrifying. He's not like that, and that's really his strong point in this show, is that he's okay with everybody for who they are. We find out that her backstory is that she enrolled to be a part of this exchange program and got sent to a family, and the moment she stepped out of the car, she knew that this family hated her. They hated her because she was a giant spider. And in the manga, at least, they mention that, like, they show reference to the show, like, maybe the family was expecting, like, an adorable cat girl or a dog girl or whatnot, but when a spider walks out, that's when they're like, this is not a good idea, no, I don't want to do this. So they sold her contract to the creepy movie director guy. And that's horrible. That's horrible. He used her to spin webs because that sells for a lot, apparently. And so she finally got fed up with it and wanted to prove, before she got caught for what she did to him, that this one guy that she heard about from this movie director guy is just a hypocrite and doesn't really care about monster people, because once he sees her, it's gonna be scared. Not the case. So Sumisu-san and her awesome squad of monster girls pops up, and they surround the warehouse, and the best part happens. They're all shouting like, you assaulted the movie director guy, and you need to come out here or we're gonna be forced to go in there. And Rhaenyra's like, well, I guess this is gonna be it. Meanwhile, Kimihito's in like a sweat next to her, just like freaking out like, oh yeah, I did actually punch that guy. Oh, he was a jerk. Oh, no, but violence is violence no matter what, and I should probably go out there and just take whatever's coming to me, because I shouldn't have hit that guy no matter how horrible he was. So, Rhaenyra, you go out, go take care of yourself. I'm gonna go out there and face what's coming to me, so good luck. And she starts laughing at him. Everyone outside hears the laughing, and they come in, the whole situation's cleared up, and Rhaenyra is now going to be staying with Kimihito. best episode so far. We are nearing the point where I have not read in the manga, so I'm actually surprised to see what's going to be coming up next, because I don't know what's going to happen. I think the manga covers, let's see, from the look of the titles, the manga seems to cover the next 1 or 2 episodes, at least from what I've read, so got at least 3 episodes after that with me not knowing anything, and I'm gonna try to get those done before I read it, because I'd like to see the ending of this in the anime first before reading the manga version, because the manga can go on forever, so it might get to the point where the ending of this first season stops like halfway through a manga and I end up reading past it, and I don't want that to happen until after I've seen it. So I'm gonna keep myself out of the know, if you will, of the last few episodes of this until I get to watching them and doing these videos on them. So thank you all for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next episode, and until then, everybody, peace out.
Musume